Bitch, listen up. Now, for today's topic, I'm going to have to ask one of y'all to close the door because there may be some little cheerings walking by down the hallway. And the topic of conversation is adults only. What is discernment? There are a couple of reasons that you have to call on God. Number one is to show me the way. And number two is to show me who's supposed to be here and who ain't supposed to be here. All right. So showing me the way gives you a spirit of discernment. You need for the Lord to come in. And this is not, listen, I'm not going to be preaching to you today, but I am going to relate the spirit of discernment to a story that's later on. But the spirit of discernment is something that is spiritual, is a spiritual gift. Okay. When I ask God for things, that's not what we should be asking for. When I ask God for discernment, I want God to reveal to me those things that are for me and take away those things that should not be around me. Now, in discerning things that are good for you in your life, sometimes you come across people that you feel like, oh my God, this person is great. We have a cosmic connection. We were in sync with each other. We're friends. We've been rolling for a long time. And then something that they do or something that they've done while you're in this space with them, over time, you take notice of. Some activity, some event, some behavior, some pattern of behaving that you see in them causes you to think a little bit with a squinty eye about them. That means you need a little bit more discernment about how you move with that person, or you need to be more discerning about who you have in your space. The spirit of discernment is something that you can only get from God. All right. It's a spiritual thing. You have to be able to discern the angels from the demons in your life, the demonic forces and the angelic forces. You know, the spirit of good and truth and the spirit of lies and the spirit of hate and deceit and wrath and all of the deadly sins that God says is not supposed to be around you. Well, sometimes in our Christian journey or in our biblical journey, in our whatever religious journey that we're having, in our spiritual journey to connect more with God, God will reveal things to you that you may not have had revelations of before. So God may say, hey, you know what? You thought you wanted to make some cookies and have a professional bakery? That ain't for you. It's just not. You're good at making cookies, but that's not your ministry. You need to be making cookies for this other endeavor I have for you. Remember the story about David that I told you about? David was just playing the lyre. He was only playing the lyre. He thought all I'm good for is herding sheep and playing the lyre. I'm short. I'm not good for anything else. And my brothers seem to be more gangster and they're the warriors. My dad is a warrior. I'm not like them. But through the spirit of discernment, God spoke through David and said, David, I've got a bigger plan for you. And David, I need you to stop hanging out with the crew that you've been hanging out with for these last few years. You need to go ahead and just tend to your sheep. Guard your flock. Do everything to focus on being a sheep herder. It doesn't matter that your brothers are out there in wartime. It doesn't matter that they're becoming generals and they're becoming very wealthy and they're profitable business owners. It doesn't matter that all of your friends are finding success in all of their endeavors. David, your purpose in life is bigger than playing the lyre. Well, David, number one, did not have a vision at the beginning. Okay. So from everyone's purpose, it always starts with a vision. The vision is the first way God speaks to you. It could come in a dream. It could come in a thought. It could come in something that's spoken to you that you overhear that gives you just a tingling sensation that this is the right way to go. So that is what I call God speaking to you, trying to give you your purpose. Now, if God is speaking to you, trying to deliver the purpose to you, then it is up to you to also allow him to speak the spirit of discernment into you. When I talked earlier on my first hour about the glow that pregnant women have when they're pregnant, it's because God has delivered hope and spirit inside of them in their wombs. So if God delivered hope and spirit inside of a woman's womb, then she's going to have an internal presence that's going to glow outwardly through her skin and how she appears. She's going to all of a sudden walk around with a halo effect that shows all throughout her body. That's the glow. That is the Spirit, that is the Holy Spirit doing something inside of her that we can all visually know that is happening, because at 4 or 6 or 7 or 8 weeks, a woman can have that spirit inside of her of a new life that's coming, but nobody can see it. And they say, oh, you're glowing today. She's like, I don't know why I'm glowing. She may not even know that she's pregnant. But if she doesn't know that she's pregnant, but all of a sudden she's glowing, that's the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit that's already inside of her, working on something that he's building up in her, that's a baby that's going to bring hope to her life and hope and change in the world. So God has to make sure that she has a spirit of discernment while she's pregnant with possibility. So sometimes you're pregnant with a baby, and sometimes you're pregnant with possibility. So if God is speaking to you and has given you a vision, if he's come to you in a dream, if he's come to you in a spirit of a spoken word that you've heard from somebody else, because when somebody speaks life into you and speaks hope and goodness and truth into you, you may not even know them. It may be somebody that you just bumped into on a street corner. I remember I was walking one day getting my laundry pickup when I was in law school, walking around there broke, had no gas in my car, and I went to go pick up my dry cleaning to go get ready for an interview that I had with no money, knowing I didn't have money to buy the pantyhose back in the days when you had to wear stockings to interviews. So this lady comes out to me and she runs out of the store. The lady who worked, she didn't work in the store. The lady who worked in the store said, oh, something is telling me I need to tell you something. I said, oh, what? Do I owe more money? She's like, no, I don't know. I just a wave came over me. Well, there was a black woman in the store at the same time. When I went outside to my car to go get in my car, I had my cell phone with me. I laid my phone on top of the car, and the woman came up to me and she said, ma'am, God just told me to tell you something. I said, oh, really? She said, God said everything's going to be fine. You're going to be prosperous. And whatever it is that you're about to go for, you're going to get. She didn't know that I was about to go on an interview for a job that I really wanted, like a law school intern. She didn't know, but she said, and everything that you have in your life is going to be blessed. You will be very blessed for the duration of your life. You have favor. God wanted me to tell you, you have favor. I said, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, mind you, I was not in the God spirit space. I was a law student that was running around on fumes just trying to get my dry cleaning and leave the store and be on time. But when she told me this, it rattled me so much that I left my cell phone on top of my car and I drove off. So then I left my cell phone behind. What the lady said to me stuck with me for the rest of the day. She said, God wanted me to tell you that you have favor. And she also said, favor ain't fair. But you're going to have a lot of people that are going to come into your life. But you remember, you're blessed and you're highly favored. Just so God told me to tell you that. So fast forward to when I'm about to get ready to run for office. And I run into this lady at an event, another black woman, obviously another praying woman. And it was at an event, and she comes up to me, and I didn't know this woman. And she said, I have to come and tell you something. I said, yes. She said, God told me to tell you something. God says you have favor, and I'm supposed to tell you that. And God also said that I need to pull the knives out of your back. You have like daggers in your back. I said, really? She literally put her hand on my shoulder and starts pulling out of my back. Like this, grabbing my shirt and pulling out of my back. My friend at the time was standing next to me like, oh my God, this lady must be on crack. And I'm looking, I was like, she said, God told me to pull all the daggers out of your back. It's the people closest to you. It's the people close to you. They're daggering you. They're trying to destroy you. But you have favor. You'll be fine. I said, okay, thank you. So then after that, I was like, okay. Now, I've gotten 2 instances in my life where these black women, it doesn't matter what color they are, but they both specifically came up to me, not ever having seen me in their lives, to give me a message about favor from God. But the second woman is the one who told me I had the daggers in my back. I was like, okay, well, I never worry about the daggers in my back because God's got me covered with a hedge of protection. That's the way I live my life. But from that favor, I've always asked God, not for favor because I'm blessed with that automatically, but for the spirit of discernment. See, my grandfather was a preacher. You know, the revivals on Saturdays, church on Wednesdays, prayer study on Thursdays, vacation Bible school for 2 months in the summertime, doing all that. Church of God in Christ, okay? So when you think about the way that you're raised and you hear about favor and discernment, you're hearing it from a preacher's grandkid. You're like, okay. But once you get older and you have your own walk with God, then when your praying starts to be a little bit different, and then you see God showing up in your life and giving you favor, just like David. Throughout David's time as a shepherd, when he was just shepherding the sheep, just taking care of his flock, playing the liar, things that have nothing to do with anything. And people kept coming up to him saying, you know what? David, you ain't going to be nothing. You just going to play this liar. They was like, yeah, I'm good at playing the liar. I have a special skill at playing the liar. It's my thing. Nobody even thinks that anybody playing a liar could be anything. Back then, they didn't have Live Nation and Taylor Swift doing concerts. You weren't going to sell out theaters and make $100 million off playing the liar. It just wasn't going to happen. The liar was just meant to be a soothing sound to soothe your soul. But that's the gift, the spiritual gift that God gave David. So when David is having all these people come up to him saying that his purpose is just to be whack, God gave us the spirit of being mighty. So we're generals, David, and we're your brothers. We're telling you, you're not meant to do anything other than this. Well, if you remember the story of David, he had this spirit of discernment to know what was for him and what wasn't for him. So he knew that he didn't need to try to do anything to further along his liar playing. He didn't need to go try to find an agent. He didn't need to go have a concert. He didn't need to say, well, maybe I need to start playing the liar for my sheep to try to see if I can go ahead and get them to do something. No, he didn't need to do that. He just needed to continue on with God's blessing that God had for him, because God has specific blessings for you that are just for you. So if you receive a blessing, you have to be discerning enough to know whether or not that gift is from God or if it's a gift from Satan. Oh, yes. Satan is in the gift-giving business, too. Remember, Satan was an angel, and then he was cast out of heaven. So sometimes the devil puts people in your life that will disguise themselves as being a spiritual gift from God to your life to help you out. But if you pray to God for the spirit of discernment, God will allow you to see that the angel that is in front of you is really a demon working against you. The demon wants to work beside you to destroy you from the inside out. So when God has this hopeful purpose in your belly, he's got this spirit inside of you that's growing, that's causing you to glow on the outside. When the outside people see your glow come out, they're going to get next to that glow. They want some of your shine. They want to glow beside you. But some of those people want to glow beside you to see you thrive. But many, and if not most of those people, want to destroy you from the inside. Remember, Judas destroyed Jesus from inside the Lord's Supper. So if you have Jesus and the apostles sitting there breaking bread and drinking wine saying, this is my last supper, do this in remembrance of me, then that means that if Judas is there and he's been walking with Jesus this entire time, collecting the money, making sure that he paid all the bills while they were walking on their journey with Jesus, then Jesus knew full well that it was prophesied that he needed to know that somebody from inside your walls, somebody that's breaking bread with you on your last night of freedom, is the Judas. So God gave Jesus the discerning spirit to call it out and tell Peter, I know who it is, baby. You ain't got to worry. It's already, before the cock crows, you're going to deny me 3 times. That's number 1. Even though I know you love me, but my spirit of discernment says there's a little bit of demon in you. You're not all the way faithful. And And people say, what? Am I going to be the one? No, you're not going to take it that far. But one of you is going to betray me. And what happened? Judas went out and betrayed him. So you have to know that the people that are around you do not always want what's best for you. The people that are around you seek to destroy you because they have the spirit of Satan in them. And I know it's hard. Listen, we don't like to deal in angels and demons. But if you believe that there is a God, then you have to know that there are evil forces out there in the world trying to destroy you and your purpose. See, because remember what I said about the vision. You can sometimes get a vision for your life that wasn't put there by God. You could sometimes have a vision on how you can prosper, how you can profit, and how you can propel yourself into different situations, thinking that it's your purpose when it's really not. Your purpose is not to go out there and destroy other people so that you can become successful. If you find that there are people in your life that you're no longer connected to, then you need to cut them off. You have to cut out the cancer from your life. I know that it sounds bad to call somebody a cancer, but if you let a demon fester in your life, it will become a cancer. And if you know anything about Shakespeare and the way that Shakespeare wrote all of his stories, there was always poison being used. Remember that? In Romeo and Juliet, they drank the poison. In Hamlet, he drank the poison. All of the Shakespearean theater, they drink the poison. Well, the reason why I consider people that are demons are a poison, because what happens is you don't just die instantly from drinking poison. You will have a long, drawn out saga of, I don't know why I'm feeling ill. All of a sudden you're walking around feeling well. You got the glow about you. You got God working in you. From the outward appearance, you're letting everybody know God's got it. He's taking care of me. He's in control. I got the hedge of protection over me. So if you got the hedge of protection over you, then that means you've had a spirit of discernment to know what's good for you and what's not good for you. But if your spirit of discernment is not very keen, you can accidentally let the poisonous pill holder next to you in your circle. Once you realize that you have a poisonous pill in your circle, there are things that you are going to say to yourself, it was there all along. For example, if you got somebody that's poison in your circle, you're going to notice how they treat other people. You're going to notice how they handle conflict resolution in their own lives. You're going to notice how they treat other people when it comes to social media. Are they into dogging everybody out? Do they have the gangster Twitter fingers? Are they tweeting and posting and sharing stuff? Are they going on your page trying to destroy you, blah, 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 trying to destroy your reputation or whatever? If you have a demon that has been affixed on destroying your life, then you must have the spirit of discernment to anchor you, to know, number one, how to get rid of the demon and spot him when you see him, baby. You got to spot the demon. Now, you can also view certain instances and people as demons because of the way it's affecting you overall. They may not do something in their actions, but if they do something actively against you, then it's a demon. It's a demon. People got demons in them, honey. You better ask God to get the demons away from you. You better say, I rebuke you, Satan, in the name of Jesus, or in the name of whatever you can find. If you don't believe in Jesus, find another prophet. If you don't believe in Jesus, you need to figure out how to protect yourself. The only way you can protect yourself from the demons that are around you, from the naysayers and from the haters, is not by having a clap back on social media. You don't need a clap back on your demons and your haters. Who cares about them? Their life sucks. Let me tell you something. If you are focused on the glow that's inside of you, and if you're not actually pregnant with a baby and you're just pregnant with possibility, then if you're pregnant with possibility, then you're walking around with a glow. The more that you are glowing, the more the demons will be showing their disdain for your success. If they have so much anger, remember, wrath is a deadly sin. And if you see people out there coming for your neck, trying to destroy you, trying to make you look bad, trying to make you feel sad and depressed and using all that they can, it's not going to affect you if you're blessed. People's outside issues should not affect you, but you must know how to deal with the haters because they are there. If you have people in your circle that make slick comments about the things that you do, or if you say, I have this dream, and then they're the dream killers, that might be a demon in them. They may not be all the way demonic, but they might be a demon in them. So I'm going to say all of that to tie this into this segment. Today's focus will be on Greek life. Now, I ran across a YouTube video, and coming off of listen, I've been an Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated member for 29 years, active membership for 29 years. And with my active membership, I have felt fulfilled. I do not believe that my organization is an idol. I do not idolize it. It is a club, period. It's an exclusive club that we keep a whole lot of women out, and we've let a lot of women in that shouldn't be in. That's just the reality. A lot of y'all got your papers and you shouldn't be in it. You should be kicked out. But I noticed that on YouTube that a lot of women are coming out and a lot of men are coming out denouncing their Greek letter affiliations because they're believing that it's demonic and it's idolatry and it's not of God. So the spirit of discernment can work in a couple of different ways. Some people have discernment in the way that they operate. And the reality is I listened to a lot of the videos that I heard from the posters that are really upset about the Greek organizations that they were in. They turned in their paperwork. They denounced the organizations that publicly and privately and through the administrative process for all the orgs that they belong to. So when I was looking at these videos and listening to what the people were saying, they were saying that the covenants that are made between the person and the organization during the ritual to get your membership were not of God, and that the covenants that are made between you and the organization mean that you're devoting your life, which is an idol. So that's how some people may view it. Obviously, the people that view it that way have denounced the organizations and gotten out. Good for them if they viewed it that way. But some of us, I'm just speaking for myself and my sister and my mother and my dad, God rest his soul, we're all Greeked up. But we don't consider ourselves Greeks. We consider ourselves members of Greek letter organizations. There's a difference. Some people are walking around here, and I know, it would make you think that their whole life is wrapped up in sorority. Their whole life is wrapped up in fraternity. You can't see some people without them first wearing every color of every organization. They wearing all at the same. They got the bumper sticker. They got the car shirt. They got the window sticker. They got the headrest. They got the backpack. They got the t-shirt, the earrings, the lipstick. They got AKA panties, Delta draws, everything they can find. They got all of this stuff. All of this stuff. Well, that's how they view the organization. Because for some of them, they viewed themselves as nothing until they got their membership. I'm being honest. Now, some people need the organization to make them feel important. They need the Greek life to make them feel like they're somebody, or that they fit in, or that they belong. And those are the people. The people begin to idolize the Greek letter organization to their detriment. See, when you listen to the videos of the people who denounce the sororities and the fraternities, you have to take that person's membership and how they viewed their membership in the organization. If they thought that it was the end all be all to everything, then they are idolizing it, and they should denounce the organization and leave, because they've made it take on a different persona and a life of its own in their own lives. So AKA ain't for you, Delta ain't for you. So I thought it would be interesting for you all to listen to the language of a post of a woman that posted something. 7 days. Seven is a lucky number. My husband's number when he was a quarterback in high school was number 7. It's also the number I bet on in roulette, number 7. It's very lucky. And 7 is lucky in the Bible, 777, it's all that. So 7 days ago, a woman posted a diatribe about why I'm no longer a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. And 7 days ago, somebody went on my social media and started posting some stuff. And so I was like, okay, well, let me see what's about this 7. So when I went on this YouTube thing, I was like, okay, what happened last week? Oh, last week I got tagged in a post from this lady who denounced Delta. And so I said, okay, maybe I'm supposed to look at this video. I said 7 days ago I was tagged. So let me see exactly what this woman is talking about. So what I did was I'm going to play for you a snippet of this woman who said, it's on YouTube, and the title is, I am no longer a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. The views, it has posted 7 days ago, and she does not allow you to leave comments at all. And she explains why in the video, but it has 736,321 views. So I thought it'd be a good idea. Forget all the other ones that have been posted in years past or in months past or whatever that have a lower amount of views. This one right here, it piqued my attention simply because it's almost got 1 million views, and she just posted it 7 days ago. And it seemed like it was pretty interesting. So I'm going to play the sound for you.
I really thought about that, like, all of my love, all of my peace. No. I'm not willing to give that to Delta. I'm not willing to give any of that to anything or anyone outside of God. And so as I have been going through this journey of growth and healing and becoming who I was made to be, I've had to look back at my life and look at agreements that I've made, oaths that I've taken that were not of God. And I know what our ritual book says. I was a chapter president. I've spoken and attended conferences and conventions. I was that girl. But on the backside, I lied a lot, and I cheated, and I manipulated people, and I did those on my own account in the name of Delta. I was encouraged to do certain things. I was encouraged to be discreet. I was encouraged to operate in ways that I truly have repented for. And this is not something that I, at this time, am ready to dive deep into, because truth be told, I don't know completely why God has placed this on my heart right now. I have always been as transparent as I can be with you all in the healthiest way that I could do it. And this is one of those times for me.
Here's what's interesting about her story. And I have to say that, like I said earlier, how you move through the clubs that you belong to will determine whether or not it's a good fit for you. And so just hearing her say that she lied and she cheated and she was manipulative, all in the name of Delta, well, those don't sound like problems with Delta Sigma Theta for me. They sound like problems with her and her own ethics. So if she now feels like she was lying and doing all that manipulation and cheating because of the sorority, then I would have to disagree. If you're lying and cheating already, then it's something that's already inside of you. It has nothing to do with the organization that you belong to. But on the second part of it, so I felt like that was dismissive. I was like, okay, that doesn't matter. But on the second part of it, she spoke about the covenants and the oaths that you take during the ritual process. Now, here's the truth about it. And I'm not sure. She quoted, she said, I pledged my, what did she say? I don't know what the Delta.
Peace and love.
I pledge all of my peace and all of my love to Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. That's what she quoted as being the part of their ritual. I don't know that to be true or not. I don't know any member of any organization who actually remembers the quote from when they took the oaths in their process, but maybe she remembers it because she was the chapter president. Here's the problem I have. When you take a covenant, okay, and when you swear an oath, police officers swear an oath to protect and serve. They swear that oath. As a police officer, if they do something that's not protecting and serving in accordance with the oath that they took, then it's not then for them to say that the police academy was wrong. We should not be taking an oath to protect and serve. The same way, in my sorority, I give all my, when we say our quotes, to thee, O Alpha Kappa Alpha, we pledge our hearts, our minds, our strength to foster thy teachings and obey thy laws and make thee supreme in service to all mankind. So when Alpha Kappa Alpha women have those words, I can only use the context of my sorority. So that's the position that I'm going to speak from. Okay. So that same oath that our pledge that we say at the end of our hymn, we pledge our hearts, our minds, and our strength. Now, in the Bible, you will hear, there are AKAs who've also denounced our sorority. They're also quoting, we pledge our hearts, our minds, our strength. But they're stopping there and saying, in the Bible, it says you're only supposed to pledge your heart and your mind to Jesus Christ and God only. Here's the problem. The women are taking the words, and instead of actually applying them, it's very clear in the sorority. For mine, let me say those words to you again. Oh, Alpha Kappa Alpha, we pledge our hearts, our minds, our strength to foster thy teachings. So we're not pledging our hearts and our minds and our strength to the sorority itself. That would be idolatry. Okay? To foster the teachings of your sorority or whatever organization you belong to are service to all mankind with God first. It's Christian based. So when you think about how people view the organization, and if you have women out there that say, I want to denounce this because I'm not supposed to pledge my heart or my mind to anything but God, I can understand that, but they're not reading the whole thing, and they're reading into it more than what is there. They're reading into it that you must exclusively pledge your hearts, your minds, and your strength. It doesn't say exclusively. When I pledge an oath, when I took the oath to uphold the laws of the State Bar of Texas, it doesn't mean I was idolizing the State Bar of Texas. When I took an oath to join Jack and Jill, or an oath to join the Links Incorporated, or the oath for Alpha Kappa Alpha, it doesn't mean that I'm revering them above everything in the world. It's a club. The reality is, if you view it as an idol, then you're going to get caught up in idol worshiping and believing that the sorority caused you to lie. The sorority caused you to be a cheater. The sorority caused you to manipulate people. And if you're one of those, listen, and she seemed like she was a young person. She's probably caught up in all the rap shit, keeping people out of the org, letting them in. She was a chapter president. She probably was doing some haze and some other was. I ran across another video with 2 AKAs that had been suspended and then decided they found God after their suspension. They found God after the suspension. They decided to denounce the sorority. I was like, okay, if you're now mad at the AKAs and say, we denouncing the AKA because it's the devil, well, you got suspended first for hazing. So you were basically browbeating somebody, got mad at the sorority for kicking you out temporarily, and then said, now we're going to say the Spirit of God told us to get away from you altogether because y'all are the devil. Okay, that's fine. Well, maybe the Spirit of God was saying that you shouldn't be beating people up to be in your organization. Maybe the AKAs were saying to you, maybe you're not fit to be in a membership. Maybe that's what it was. But whenever you have all these people coming out there saying, oh, being a member of a Greek letterization is idolatry, you have to also think about, where is that person in their lives? What are they lacking to where they thought that they could hold the sorority up? Anything can become an idol, baby. Your handbag collection could become your idols. The money that you have in your bank account could become an idol. The car that you drive, you could idolize. The man that you're married to, you could idolize him. The girlfriends that you hang around with, you could idolize. You could idolize your stint on a reality show. You could be idolizing anything, anyone that you take too much concern over to where it actually affects your spiritual being. That's what an idol is. Okay? An idol is not the organization in and of itself. A club cannot be a demon in and of itself. If you have caused yourself to act out in bad ways, and you want to say it's the sorority made me do it, well, the sorority is not something that's a spiritual thing in the first place. The organization that you belong to is a club made up of men and women. So if the men and women in that organization, maybe you need the spirit of discernment that you need to change the chapter that you're in. Maybe you need a spirit of discernment to discern for you what's the best place for you to be in your life, because you got too caught up in the sorority organizational stuff. Because if you have these people out there denouncing these organizations, I don't see them out there winning awards for the organization saying how much service you gave to the community. All I see is the organizations are designed to help those people in need from every walk of life. And in some way, if you lost your way dealing with that organization and how you move in that club, or having you move in that group, or how you move in the police force, or how you move in the state bar, whatever you have your covenant or oath that you took to uphold the standards of whatever the organization is, how you move is the problem, not the organization of itself. You can denounce every club that you belong. I can denounce the State Bar of Texas all the way. If I was a lawyer that was stealing money from my client and I got disbarred, I may end up going on YouTube making a denouncing the State Bar of Texas video saying, God did not want me to be a part of the bar anyway because it's idol worship. I idolize my legal career. I idolize this. When the reality is my legal career allows me to be a value add to other people. So if you're out there saying that the organization caused you to be a liar and a cheater and a manipulative person, that's something that was in you already. So maybe while you have the spirit of discernment from God, maybe the devil is working inside you just a little bit, clouding your judgment to where you think that it's the club's fault that you had the fucked up propensity to be a liar, or the propensity to cheat people, or to manipulate people. See, because if you're like that in your own space, then you're never going to be happy in the club. You're always going to look for a scapegoat. You're always going to look for a reason why things aren't going well in your life spiritually. You don't need a reason. Just look inside yourself. Look inside yourself. See, maybe you're the problem, not the organization being the problem, but maybe there's something about you. Maybe you need to pray more. Maybe you need to surround yourself with a different set of friends. Maybe the toxic nature of your personality, remember, the toxic nature of your own personality can cause you to use God and Bible verses as your reason for denouncing an organization that has done nothing but be a value add to hundreds of thousands of people, feeding millions of people across the world, donating money. Listen, there's so much service that goes along with certain organizations. The whole point is to serve. So if in your time of service in the organization that you belong to, you felt that you became more of a liar, more of a cheater, more of a manipulative person, then maybe you were not a person that needed to be in the organization. Maybe you were the problem and the cancer that the organization needed to rid itself of. Because remember, God has a way of removing things from your life that shouldn't be there. So maybe God had a way of removing those people from those organizations because they were toxic for the organization. And so now that they're on their own, maybe now they can fulfill their spiritual purpose and figure out how to be a better person, separate and apart and away from those people in the organizations who are trying to look at making a better life for other people that the organization affects. So I'm not saying this from a position of being a hater. I'm just saying it from a position of me having a spirit of discernment. Because when people are saying that the organization that I belong to is of the devil and everything like that, I always have to consider the source. What is going on in your life to make you feel like the organization, an inanimate thing, a club where you pay dues to be a member, and that if you don't follow the rules of being a servant leader and let me tell you something. You take an oath, okay, to uphold high ethical standards in my organization. So if you're supposed to be upholding high ethical standards and you're a liar and a cheater and a manipulative person, then maybe the organization's not for you. And the reality is just Greek life is not for your life. And maybe the spirit of discernment will come upon you that maybe you were the toxic person in the organization that the organization needed to rid itself of. And instead of the organization taking time away from its service to deal with you, you just took yourself out of the running. So the reality of discernment preaches this. When things and people do not belong in your life, God will move them on out. So God will move out those people for whatever reason that the devil is telling them. See, because remember, the devil sends messages too. So the devil could have you confused. The devil can say, you need to leave that man. When the reality is you don't. You need to be more forgiving. The reality is God could say, you know what? You need to stay where you are. Give it a little bit more time. I can save anybody. Just pray, 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 pray. For a spirit of discernment. Because the reality is, if you have started to idolize anything, then whatever has become your idol, you need to rid yourself of. You're not supposed to be idolizing the organizations that you belong to. You should only be idolizing God in heaven. That's it. If you're idolizing God, you're in the right place. Everything else is secondary. Those are just clubs. You be on YouTube making you don't need to go on YouTube making a denouncement video and clowning yourself. You don't need to you can do that privately. You can do a private denouncement on your own. But before you denounce yourself from all these organizations, all these oaths that you took saying the only covenant, if you have a covenant with God to be a believer, that's all you need. Everything else is superfluous. When we say, I swear to tell the truth and the whole truth, nothing but the truth, help me God, on a stack of Bibles, you know they're going to get up on the witness stand and start lying. So does that mean the Bible is not something that you should take an oath on? Is it the Bible's fault that the witness going to start lying? No. It's just that a liar took an oath. So maybe the liars took an oath. Maybe the liars took the pledge. Maybe the liars made the covenant with these organizations. And now the liars are feeling like there's nothing left for me here. And I put this organization up on a pedestal. So the person that you see out there wearing 45 different pieces of paraphernalia all at one time, maybe they've taken this club stuff a little bit too far. So maybe you need to think about them in the space that they're in. And if they're trying to use God and spirituality as their reason for denouncing the organization, when the reality is they were not a value add to the organization because it made them become a worse person. That's something inherent in them. It has nothing to do with being a Greek letter organization member, period. And on that note, I want to say shout out to all the AKs and the Deltas. Shout out to all those people who believe in service first and sisterhood. And you know what? If you've denounced the organization, just turn your money back in. Just turn in your stuff. Listen, take all of your stuff and donate it to some new Ivy that wants to be an AKA. All right, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Girl, Get Your Act Together. Have the spirit of discernment. Weed the people out of your life. Don't idol worship. Are you waxing your car every day? Are you getting new seats in your car all the time? Are you making sure nobody can touch your car? Nobody can drive your car? Are you overinsured on your car? Are you driving it like it's the best things in sliced bread? Maybe you're idolizing your car. Maybe you're idolizing your shoe collection. Are you spending all your effort, time, and energy getting new shoes? Maybe that's it. Are you working 400 hours a week just trying to make sure you can make more money? Is it all you talk about is money? All you're flashing is your money? Maybe you're idolizing money. It doesn't have to be a golden calf. Maybe it's the golden calf in your life. Maybe the golden calf in your life is the sorority. Well, then that means you have a warped sense of reality. If you have a warped sense of reality, I hope you get your senses back. Pray to God for discernment. So on that note, have a great week, and I'll be back next week, everybody, on Girl, Get Your Act Together. For those of you women out there, I've been in this situation. Don't be embarrassed. It could happen to you.